Hello, good morning. See, the last chapter that we finished was lesson number 5, that is the winds, isn't it? The various types of winds we had finished. And today we are going to start with lesson number 6, that is natural regions. Natural regions. Okay, we are going to start with a new chapter, natural regions. But before I start with this chapter, there is one thing I want to tell you. You remember this? On page number 23, I had said that we'll discuss about this characteristics of the valley breeze and then the diagram over here for the mountain breeze. So we are going to do this. I'm going to give a small explanation for this and then we'll continue with this chapter, natural regions. So if you can get back to page number 23, that is the characteristics of valley breeze. So what is the thing? I told you that I will take it up in the next class. So this is, see, you have to look at the diagram and see how it is. Okay. Now if you see or observe this diagram, I told you what is a valley. Valley is the region, isn't it? So this is the mountainous or the hilly region. Okay. Mountainous, I will just write it in short form, mountainous or hilly region. Okay, it's the same way over here also, M or H. Okay, and this one is the valley. This one is the valley. So people can live both in the mountainous or the hilly region as well as down in the valley. Because that valley will have all the land, and land of course is there in the mountainous region also, but the difference would be that we'll have water over here. We'll have water over here. So according to the diagram, they are showing the wind going from down below to up. Isn't it? They are showing that the winds are blowing from valley to the mountains, and it is the daytime because the sun is also over there. Correct? So, what are the characteristics? We can find that is winds are blowing from a valley to the mountains. Valley to the mountains. That's the first character. Second is, that means air is getting heated very fast during the day. Air is getting faster during the day and the valley is getting cooler. And the pressure over here in the mountainous area is less and it is more in the valley region. And the cool air, because the water is there, because of which the air becomes cooler, is pushed upwards. It is pushed upward, and hot and light air from the mountain rushes towards valley. So from here, because it is the sun, because the air over here is nearer to the sun, so definitely it is going to be warm and hot, and that comes down, and from the water, because the air gets cooled over here in the water, it gets pushed upwards. So these are the characteristics of the valley breeze. And over here, now over page number 24, it is the characteristics of the mountain breeze is given. So, and the first sentence itself says mountain cools down quickly at night. So now the same diagram, but here instead of sun, we are going to have a moon. Right? Instead of sun, we are going to have a moon, and going in this direction. The winds would be going in this direction. So whatever is there in the characteristics of the mountain breeze is the opposite of the valley breeze. So you can just, whatever is written over here, you can write it over here. And this diagram, instead of sun and the winds going upwards, you can draw moon over here and the winds coming downwards. Okay, that's all I have to tell you about this one, and we'll continue. We will start with a new chapter, that is natural region. Okay, now what is a natural region? Now what is natural region? Region is, what is region in the first place? What is region? Region is, sorry, excuse me. Region is a place where we live. Place where we live. Okay? We could be, as I said, we could be living in the hilly region, we could be living in the plateau region, or we can be living in the valley region. Or else we could be living in the desert region, we could be living in the Iceland region. What is Iceland region? Iceland region is where everything is full of ice. Right? But there is specific names given to these places. But what is a region? Region is a place where we live. Okay? The place like desert. Okay? That would be the desert region. If you are living on the mountainous area or the hilly region, it will be called as the hilly region. Okay, if you are living in the valley, it would be the valley region. There's a name given to that. We'll come to that. Okay, if you are living in a place where it is snowing throughout the year, that is the Iceland. That is the thing, right? If we are living near equator, that would be equatorial region. So different. So whichever place we live in, that is called a region, and different names are given to those regions. Okay, we can't be simply saying mountainous region, or we can't say valley region, or we can't say the Iceland region. No, there are names given to such regions. Okay, there are few places put together and they are called as region. Like even if you talk the map of India, if you can think about map of India, okay, so the north part could be the northern region, the south of India would be called southern region, the west part of the country would be called as the western region, and the east part of the country could be called as the eastern region. Am I right? So, but then those lands are also given different name. So it is, region is place where we live, and names are given to such regions. So let's get on with that and we'll see what it is all about. On the basis of the selections you have done and the questions given below, arrange a discussion in the class. So there are few questions given over there, and then we are going to have the geographical explanation for that. Okay. There exists a large number of different things in the world than those we see in our surroundings. We see different educational and informative TV programs about wildlife. We become curious to know more about this wildlife. Why is this wildlife not seen in our areas? Why are they not similar to the wildlife found in our areas? What causes this difference? Let us try to find the reasons behind all this. So now see, this line, there exists a large number of different things in the world than those we see in our surrounding. Now we here, for us, it's simply plain. Now we are here with Pune, right? Everything is plain, right? So whatever we see in our surrounding, okay? Now there are so many things where it's not just people and building, as far as we see, no. There are many other things existing in the world. And if we see the educational programs on TV, they will be talking all about the wildlife, okay? So how is this wildlife, or why the wildlife is not seen in our region or the place where we live? Can we do that? No. Now that would be a bit, what do you say, too much to digest, that wild animals and humans can live together. Well, to a certain extent, but then we have to make them our pets, right? But then we don't know who is scared of whom, right? Are the animals scared about us, or we are scared from the animals? So that's a question to be answered, because if we see the lizard walking, only we start shouting, lizard, 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 and the class, or a cockroach, oh, that's very creepy and crowded. But then I am shouting cockroach, cockroach in the class, but what I think about from the cockroach point of view, that cockroach is getting even more scared, saying this guy is going to kill me. But definitely, because that's my instinct reaction, I would say, to just take out my slipper and go hitting that cockroach. Okay, I killed that cockroach. Why did I do it? Because I got scared. Oh really? Fine, you got scared. But what did the cockroach do to scare you? It was nothing. It was walking on the walls. Right? It was not even doing anything to you. The moment it sensed me as a human, it knew that my instinct reaction would be to kill it. So it was just simply running away. But the way it was running, it was all creepy and crawling. It was very disgusting, seeing that cockroach going over there. So poor thing, since it was not finding any way to go, it came on me. It tried to, it thought that I am an exit for that cockroach. It tried coming on me, and then when it realized, oh no, I've come on the wrong way, I'm supposed to go here. Then so that thing runs, and then we all start shouting, cockroach, cockroach, cockroach. Now tell me, who is more scared and who is more powerful? We are definitely more powerful. We have that thing to kill that innocent creature who is simply going up the wall in search of its food. God created family for everyone. If it has created human beings and family for them, then He has created animals, He has created birds, He has created reptiles, He has created the sea creatures, all as families. Okay, we can say that far, right? Okay, so if you see the wildlife program in the thing, you will find that when the animal babies are small, the parents become very, very protective about their pets, the same way we do about our children, right? We go hunting, we go in search of food so that our children don't stay hungry. So there also the parents must be coming, in search of food. The big cockroach or the big lizard coming out in search of food till the time that the baby cockroach is able to search for its own food. But what have we done? Just seeing the cockroach, we screamed on our top of a voice, took out the chuckles and killed it. Without giving it a thought that that cockroach might have come out in search of the food for its family. Right? That's what I mean. So is it possible for us to live together? That's a question that they are going to, that The chapter is asking, why are they not similar to the wildlife found in our areas? So what is the wildlife that we find in our areas? At the most, what we can find the wildlife in our areas are the wild dogs and the wild cats, because they don't allow us anywhere near them, right? Or the reptiles, we can say, that is the least that we have found, and the snakes. Don't forget the snakes. They are also the wildlife that we find in our surroundings. What causes this difference? Let us try to find the reasons behind all this. So why the difference? Why can't we stay with them? Okay, now the geographical explanation for them. There are differences in terms of landforms, climate, soils, etc. in different parts of the world. See, this is very, very important. Because every form, as I said, if you go to the mountainous area, it becomes the hilly area, the cooler area or the colder area. So the climate, the landform, the soil over there is entirely different from the valley or the land that we are living in. Okay, and it's not just about Pune, but since we are living in Pune, so I'm just talking about this part. But if you go to the other part of the world, like suppose if we go to Antarctica, it's full of ice. Can you see a single bit of greenery over there? Somehow we might find those, if at all we find any greenery over there, it would be those Christmas tree types thing. That's the only thing we can find that is surviving over there. Maybe because it's their climatic condition, right? That we can't grow plants over there. Can we grow it? No, we can't. So how do those people survive? That's a question to be asked, right? So that is one part. If we go to Middle East countries like Dubai, Qatar, it's very, very extremely hot, right? Then if we go somewhere in a very normal this thing, okay, we are cool, pleasant climate, right? The one which we can bear. So this difference is mainly due to the availability of sunlight and water in that region. See, that is the main difference. As I said, like if you go on top of the mountain, so the water availability over there in the mountainous area and the land area and the sunlight. Okay, if you are moved down, the sun, distinct rays are more there over there than the mountainous areas. Mountainous areas are also because there are lots of trees and plants over there, which hardly allows the sun rays to come in. That's the reason why it is quite cold over in the mountainous areas than on the valley region. We here in the valley region, in order to live, in order to construct the buildings and everything, we have cut down the forests, or we have cut down the trees, plants, everything in order to bring up the concrete jungle, right? So definitely there are more plenty of sun rays coming, bright light coming, and the climate unfortunately becomes very hot and unbearable. But that's not the case in the mountainous area. If you go to the mountainous area and try to deforest it or remove the trees and everything, there will be a huge landslide. Digging, of course we still do it, but then which causes a lot of landslides. So the availability of sunlight and water keeps on changing from equator to the poles. We have studied this in the previous standards. Differences in landforms, climate and soil greatly influence the flora, fauna and human life and give rise to variation in the biodiversity in different parts of the world. See, so flora is your vegetation or the green plant or trees and everything, right? Fauna is the wildlife and human life is of course our life, which gives rise to variation in the biodiversity in different parts of the world. On the other hand, there are similarities of climate, vegetation and animal life in different continents that spread between certain latitude. Here again, like so you might we have this. I'm just drawing this. This is latitudes and longitudes, and then we have that. Isn't it Tropic of Cancer? I'm just writing it. Maybe I'm wrong in this thing, but just writing it. Tropic of Cancer. Then we have equator. Then we have Tropic of Capricorn. Okay? Right? Now, and since it's a globe and this whole thing takes a big round, isn't it? If the Tropic of Cancer is starting from this, so it would take a big huge circle and come over here. So same way the case with equator going round the globe and coming over here, and same is the case with Tropic of Cancer going round the globe and making a circle. So whatever climatic condition or the features of Tropic of Cancer is in this part of the world, we'll also find it in different, the other side of the continent. Okay, if this side of the continent is experiencing whatever it is, be it hot climate, cold climate, rainy climate, or the very cold climate, the same thing would be experienced on the other part of the continent. Same is the case with the equator. Maybe not, because it might vary because of the rotation of the earth and the time taken and everything. It might vary, but majority of it is similar. Same is the case with equator. Whatever climatic condition, whatever feelings that we have around this region is felt on the other part from where this equator line is passing. And same is the case with the Tropic of Capricorn, that whatever the climatic condition, the sun rays, the rain, the water, the hot, humid climate, whatsoever it is, what we are finding it in this part of the continent, when it takes, so wherever this line is passing on the other side of the continent also faces the same climatic conditions with little bit of variation. These similarities stand out as the distinctive features of these regions. As these regions stand out on the basis of natural factors, they are called natural regions. The natural environment of such regions affect the living world, including human beings. Isn't it? So see, as the region stands out on the basis of natural factors, they are called natural regions. The natural environment of such regions affect the living world, including human beings. So, living world is not just we human beings. It's also the plantations, the trees, the plants, the vegetables, or whatever it is. We call it as vegetations, and then the animals. Okay, and different types of animals found in different regions. The entire land on the earth can be divided into these natural regions. Let us try to understand their distribution with the help of maps and tables given in this lesson. So see, now here on page number 32, they have given the region, location and extent, climate, natural vegetation, animal life and human life. See, so as I said, so the region does not consist only of the human life. It also consists of natural vegetation. It also consists of the animal life. And the names of the regions are given. The location is given as to which region from which point to which point. Then the climatic conditions is given. Natural vegetation is given. Animal life is given. Human life is given, and then we have the map also, which we are going to study in the next class, because the time is almost up, so I'm going to close it. But then there is one thing before we come into the next class. I would want you all to read this page number 32 and 33 plus 34, that is 32, 33 and 34 very, very carefully, and in the next class we'll discuss it. Okay, bye.